Welcome back to Black Bear News. Greetings and salutations. Hello to all. Please remember to like the video and make sure that you are still subscribed. Excuse me. So, starting off with a little economic news, economic headline: Dow falls 1,191 points, the most in history. But we live in an age of record-breaking events, and historical records seem to fall every day. That's just what's happening. So the Dow also was up, has been up the highest it's ever been in history. Over the last few years, that record keeps getting broken. But this record, the biggest drop, U.S. stocks again sold off sharply on Thursday as worries about coronavirus mounted. The S&P 500 posted its worst day since August 18th, 2011, and the three main indexes fell into correction territory. What does that mean? What does a correction mean? What does that mean? That means when we are in a correction, or officially in a correction, or if anybody is going to acknowledge a correction, that means pretty much recession. So stocks are on track for their worst week since the financial crisis. The financial crisis, meaning the last one, the Great Recession. S&P 500 finished the day below the 3,000 mark. The Dow has fallen more than 10% below its most recent peak, putting it in a correction. All three indexes are on track for their worst week since the fall of 2008. Dun, dun, dun. The midst of the financial crisis. So, interesting stuff that's happening around this is that Trump is absolutely in panic mode, in huge panic mode, because this could be the worst thing possible for his reelection in November. Yeah, we have an election coming up this year. Trump is up for reelection. If the stock market tanks, or the economy starts tanking, or we go into a recession over the summer, it's goodbye Trumpy. Not that I want people to be in pain or economic pain, and not that I wish a bad economy on anybody. This could be a really good thing for one Bernie Sanders. It could be a really bad thing for one Donald Trump. And I ain't too mad at that for one. But yeah, if you're in any stocks, probably a good time to really eye those closely, depending on which way you're betting. If you got some put options out there, then maybe you're doing okay. Yeah, so let's go to that. Trump is said to be furious at grim official warnings about coronavirus and is trying to combat a stock market slide with relentless optimism. Of course, Trump named Pence the coronavirus czar, and Pence is a climate denier, a science denier. He's kind of an all-around buffoon in the science category, but somehow he's going to be the czar of helping get the word out or control the coronavirus, whatever's happening with the coronavirus in the United States. Apparently, Trump has been trying to limit the amount of information around the coronavirus. He's been trying to limit any news at all. And because, for obvious reasons, he doesn't want the stock market to tank. He doesn't want people in a panic. He doesn't want the economy to slow down. He doesn't want to have to slow down air travel or any other industries, because that would mean a downturn. which it looks like it's already happening, whether he wants to control it or not. So this is from today concerning the coronavirus. Americans, this is from CBS News, pretty large mainstream outlet. Americans warned to prepare as coronavirus picks up steam outside of China. Coronavirus epidemic that started in China late last year continues to spread around the world, with hundreds more cases confirmed in South Korea on Wednesday, and Italy and Iran racing to try to control smaller but equally worrisome outbreaks. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warned Americans Tuesday to be prepared for the COVID-19 illness to start spreading within the U.S. Whoa. Get ready. By the way, a mask will not help you. If you do not have the sickness, a mask will not prevent you from getting the sickness. It actually is good for preventing, if you already are infected with coronavirus, it prevents you from spreading the virus. So I guess have a mask if it makes you feel better. I don't know. If you test positive, though, you might want to go get yourself a mask. There has already been a widespread flu in the U.S., well documented, not related to coronavirus, and quite a few people have been hospitalized, and a number of people have died. On Wednesday, the CDC announced what may be the first instance of a case of the virus in the U.S. that has no known link to overseas travel or any other known cause. It's in Northern California. I live in California. Among the more than 1,500 cases in South Korea, the largest outbreak outside China, was a 23-year-old U.S. service member who had been ordered to self-quarantine in his home off base. But he recently visited 2 U.S. military facilities in the region where South Korea's outbreak is centered. Thousands of U.S. troops are based around the city of Daegu, where the outbreak has been linked to a large church congregation. With the global death toll from the flu-like virus now over 2,700, and South Korea, Italy, and Iran reporting significant daily jumps in cases, mounting fear that the disease could gain a foothold in other countries has sent stock prices plunging. As we have seen, this entire week has been a bloodbath on the stock market. CDC's warnings on Tuesday shaved about 3% off stock prices on all the major U.S. exchanges and Asian and European markets were down again on Wednesday. President Trump, did you hear me do a little trumpet? President Trump tried to downplay fears of the virus and of an economic downturn during a briefing Wednesday evening, saying the risk to Americans remains very low. Of course, many had said that that whole press briefing was to try and stall the plunging stock market prices to zero effect. Today being the worst day in history for the Dow Jones. So no such luck for Trumpo. Let's gonna read through a few of these comments. Hello guys, how is everyone? John Lungfist, TCR, Poppy, Zoxalix, what's up? While billionaires try to steal the election, the stock market Ponzi scheme crashes. Also, while coronavirus begins to devastate the planet. So many implications for this coronavirus. And I believe Kevin Hester wrote an article not too long ago about a black swan event. Coronavirus looking like the black swan event. That kind of starts a domino effect, creates a vortex that pulls everything down with it. We shall see. Not only that, but when you have an industrial downturn, you have a downturn in air travel. I heard up to 30% of air travel being affected, or not happening. What does that do to global heating? What does that do to the global dimming effect? What does that do to immediate heating this year? And how does that in turn affect other things like the Arctic ice melt in the summer? How does it affect wildfires this summer? How does it affect global temperatures this summer? How does it affect permafrost this summer? Poppy Davis says, Trump freaking out makes me extremely happy. It does. It makes me happy too. I have to agree with you. Even though, the downside of that joy is that, the things that make him happy, or the things that make him freak out, strike that, reverse that. The things that make him freak out should make everyone else freak out too. Pink Barrio, Brent crude oil futures down 2.34%. Oh, down to 52.18. Yeah, if you're, looking like the fossil fuel market is not a good one to be in at the moment. Unless you want to sell and buy later, or just buy in at the bottom. I don't know. I heard the other day, I can't remember the news station, but I did hear that the natural gas market is actually not profitable, to the point where in some places the price of gas is actually a negative price, meaning they'll pay you to take the gas. So yeah, not a good industry to be in, even though it seems that industry is expanding. For what reason, I don't know. Echoes of Not says, was out today stocking up. And I guess that's a good idea if you want to run to the store and get some canned goods, or get some, big sacks of rice and beans. Might be a good idea right now. Dry goods that you can store for a while. Water is also a good thing to have. Can never have too much drinking water, Echoes of Not says. Poppy Davis says, N95 masks will protect you, but Amazon sold out. Good heavens, me oh my. Sama, how you doing? Thor Wonder, let me see. I missed it. Everything shifted for a second. Thor Wootendahl says, stock up on beer. I would if I drank beer. I guess I'm going to stock up on coffee, tea, Zoxalix, rice, beans, cereals, granola, canned goods, vitamin, water. Yeah. R. Nunez C says, grass, the new currency too. Thanks, Osama. I'm glad you enjoyed the conversation with Nick. Lastly, I wanted to cover in this video, NASA reveals shocking ice cap melt in Antarctica after record heat. So this is from February 21st, relatively old news, but I talked about this a bit with Nick, and I just never really had a chance to gloss over this. New image from Antarctica's record heat wave show the rapid greening of an island's ice cap. 2 weeks ago, the temperature in Antarctica topped 64.9 Fahrenheit or 18.3 C, making it the hottest weather on record for the icy southern continent. NASA has now released dramatic new images of the extensive ice melt caused by the recent heat wave, which ran from February 5th to the 13th. Captured by NASA's Landsat 8 satellite, the before and after snapshots expose the rapid greening of Eagle Island, a landmass at the tip of the Antarctic Peninsula over the course of 9 days. The island is about 40 kilometers from Esperanza Base, where the record-breaking temperature was recorded. As the warm temperatures persisted, the island's ice cap swiftly retreated and meltwater collected in pools that covered roughly a square mile. The heat wave shaved off about 4 inches of snow, a quarter of which melted on February 6th, the day that broke the temperature record. In total, NASA estimates that one heat wave caused 20% of the region's entire seasonal snow accumulation to melt on Eagle Island. I haven't seen melt ponds develop this quickly in Antarctica, said Mauri Pelto, glaciologist at Nichols College who has been studying the heat wave in a NASA post. You see these kinds of melt events in Alaska and Greenland, but not usually in Antarctica. Uh-oh. And lastly, I want to cover this one more article, also from the same date. Dry February sends California back to drought. This hasn't happened in 150 years. February is typically one of the wettest months in California, but the state is parched and there's no moisture in the forecast. We're actually supposed to get some rain, I believe, tomorrow or Saturday. But we will see if it actually makes a dent in the drought readings. San Francisco and Sacramento have not seen a drop of rain this February, and climate scientists are expecting that disturbing dry trends to hold in what is typically one of the wettest months of the year for California. This hasn't happened in 150 years or more, said Daniel Swain, a climate scientist at UCLA's Institute of the Environment and Sustainability. There have been a couple of wildfires, which is definitely not something you typically hear about in the middle of winter. February 2020 is shaping up to be the driest February on record in parts of the state. We are below 5% of average precipitation from in the first half of the month. Combined with warmer than average temperatures, the state is parched and there is no moisture in the forecast. The dryness has picked up as the season has gone on, said Swain. In February, California began experiencing drought again for the first time since March 2019, just a year ago. The year began with a snowpack at 90% of its historical average, but less than 2 dry, warm months later, it's hanging on at just 52% of average. Those numbers are going to continue to go down, said Swain. I would guess that March 1st number is going to be less than 50%. And again, I brought this up with Nick Humphrey in our interview. And this has been a trend over the last couple of years, in that even if we have a year in which we get some snowpack because of high temperatures and or multiple rain events, the snowpack goes away very, very quickly. And historically, the snowpack in California keeps the state wet, keeps the state in water. Because the snowpack will last into the summer, right? It won't really melt for many more months. But because of the higher temperatures, the snowpack is melting much more quickly, and therefore causing drought situations. Osama says, peppers are popping under my 8,000 lumen LED lights. Growing some peppers, are you? Good for you, man. I'm a little jealous. I haven't actually planted anything yet this year. I really need to get it together. Very little gardening going on right now, but that's because I've been working on music. So you gotta choose what to do with your time. Right now I'm in a deadline to finish a record, so maybe after the record's done or a little bit beforehand, maybe I'll get some seeds in the ground. Osama, my bluebirds were here on 2/24. Usually they show up in April. So yeah, on the East Coast, spring is 2 months early. Everything is in bloom here. Too chilly and windy today. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope the vineyards don't get fucked up by the late freeze. Pink Barrio says, is this winter? 77 degrees in San Francisco. That's hot. That's pretty warm even for summer in San Francisco. I used to live in San Francisco. 77 was like a really nice summer day. So that's how it's going. Jody Connolly, 80 plus near Jackson, California. It's quite warm here today. It's actually in the mid 80s here in Southern California. Jane says the real question is why is the world panicking over this virus? Seriously, the mortality rate is being moved down to around 1%. That means 99% go home and get over it like the flu. Yeah, the actual the regular flu mortality rate is under 1%. So I saw some numbers. Something like if 45 million people got infected with the regular flu, 70,000 would die. If 45 million people got infected with the COVID-19 virus, over 1 million would die. So that would be the difference. It would be like over 10 times the amount of deaths of regular flu. And I guess the issue is that this is extremely communicable. I guess that's the problem with this flu. Yeah, it's at 1%. Mortality rate. However, it's easier to get. So if more people get it, that means more people die. Personally, this is just, I think that there is a bit of, I think it's a serious virus. On the other hand, I think that there is a bit of sensationalism going on. I'm sorry. I'll probably have to eat my hat, if it goes exponential and everything turns to shit. But honestly, I think there is a bit of, conjuring up, the winding up of the panic machine is definitely happening, especially here in the U.S. You could say also that that's a good thing because if people take precautions, then less people will get sick. However, it is causing industrial activity to slow down. It's causing plane travel to slow down. It's causing economies or stock markets to go down. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just hanging out. I'm taking a passive observer stance in this situation, but surely looks like it's spreading. Brian Smith says sweltering 55 degrees here. Where are you, Brian? I don't know where you are. 77 in San Carlos. Obioma Fashion says, what do you think Los Angeles highest temperature will be this summer? Who knows? 2 years ago, we were seeing a lot of temperatures, a lot of 107 degree days, 106 degree days. We saw highs as much as 113, 115. The next year we got one brief spell of 117 degrees or 115 degree temperatures, very hot, and then that was it. Your guess is as good as mine. I'd say it's probably going to be pretty hot this summer. I'll say we'll hit 110 more than a few times. Flu is 0.1% mortality. Zoxalix says, I've seen mortality as high as 5%. It's probably 2.5. I've heard anywhere from 1 to 4. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Echoes if not, it could collapse the economy. And if it does, so let's say it spreads a little more, it sees its peak, but, it does the job of tanking the economy or inducing global heating. I really, really want to know, what the global temperature looks like over the next few months, what those readings come out to look like. Very, very curious. Well, we won't know for a couple more months. Poppy Davis makes a good point. If the virus ain't that bad, why is China on lockdown? It seems odd. And I agree with you. It does seem odd. If it's only, 1% mortality rate, if it's very infectious, they seem to be, going all in on trying to control this. So is something else going on with this virus that we don't know about? I'm all ears, and I'm open to opinions on that. Even on the conspiracy side, that doesn't mean I believe the conspiracy theories about it, but it's interesting. There are there were biological centers there in Wuhan, right, where it broke out. What are the words I'm trying to look for? You guys know what I'm trying to say. There were a few facilities in Wuhan that were involved in bio weapons or bio testing, and this broke out in Wuhan. Some people are pointing to that and saying that looks very suspicious. Zoxalic says this is serious. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. But anyways, hang on to your socks, your pants, your hats, your shorts. The dude says China, South Korea, Japan, Northern Italy, Iran. Also California. Irk1 says, what if the economy were about to collapse and coronavirus is a scapegoat? Chinese bubble bursting, of course. That's certainly a possibility. Anthropomorphic facsimile said, did you see the videos of people falling out on the streets in South Korea, Iran, and Italy? Added some cred to the videos in China. I haven't seen those, but I did see quite a few of the ones from China. So yeah, I will search those out. I mean, I know it's happening. I know it's a thing. I'm not saying it's not happening on any level. Like, it's definitely something to take seriously. The dude says Trump says it's fine, so it's not fine, and that's probably the biggest signal you need to take in, right? The biggest signal to watch is, if Trump says something, Mike could usually be the opposite. All right, guys, that's all the time I have. Thank you so much for checking in and joining in the chat with me. I appreciate you. As always, thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. And you know how you can support this channel at the links below. Enjoy your afternoon, and peace.